spades over the last 25 years, many of the best of them coming from right here. I think at this point, we have all the superstructure of a movement that one could ever want. We've got all the scientists and policy people and economists and things. The part of the movement that we're lacking is the movement part. We need to build that. We need to have a real movement that can actually exercise some influence of some kind in this national debate. It's not impossible to have that. In the past, we have had such things. The first Earth Day in 1970, presented with less dire problems than we are, managed to get 20 million Americans, or 1 in 10 of the then current population, into the streets. And the result was that in the next 4 years, Richard Nixon, who had not an environmental bone in his body, signed the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Endangered Species Act, all the other laws that are still the backbone. They're still the only things that our, environmental lawyers and things have to work with. That was the one moment when we actually got something done. So, at a certain point, though it's not, at a certain point, decided to try to do something, though it's not at all intrinsically what I'm good at or want to do. I'm a writer. I would much rather just be, it's nice to be here with you all, but I'd much rather be sitting at home in Vermont typing. That's what I enjoy doing. Hiking and typing. We started trying to build this, I'll skip all the sort of much of the background. We did some work across this country and a thing called Step It Up early on, and it worked well enough that we decided to kind of continue. But at a certain point, probably the summer of '07, when the Arctic melted so dramatically, it became clear that we were going to have to try to organize globally. I spent that summer taking phone calls from scientists I've known for a very long time who'd always been worried, but now we're really panicked and saying things are happening outside, way outside the error bars. This is getting out of control. By the end of that summer, it was clear that we were going to have to organize globally. That's a daunting thing to even consider what you might do, because just in purely practical terms, the insistence of people all around the planet of speaking their own languages makes it very difficult to organize them all. Even though we now have this intellectually global problem. So we were horrified and a little thrilled to read that paper that Hansen et al. Put out in January of '08, probably the most important scientific paper of the millennia to date, from Jim and his team at NASA. And it said, we know enough about carbon now to know how much is too much. If we look at the paleo data and we look at real-time observation, we can say with some confidence that 350 parts per million CO2 is, so I remember how they put it, any value for carbon above that level, above 350, is not compatible with the planet on which civilization developed and to which life on Earth is adapted. So you all are used to reading scientific papers. You'll understand that that's somewhat stronger language than is usually used, right? And it's stronger still when you know that, as you all do, that outside today in New Haven and in New Zealand and in every other place in the world, it's about 391 parts per million CO2, and it's going up 2 parts per million per year, a little more than that now. So it was terrifying. The paper was very much, what he had said was something that we should have known, but forced one to realize at some deep level. Climate change, not a future threat, the present crisis, breaking over our heads now. We're much too high. We've got to deal with it on a much faster time scale than we have.